Hello, guys. I'm here again with another review concerning the events that just happened over the weekend, where um, the 78 girls from Cote d'Ivoire were rescued and brought back to Nigeria through the help of Very Dark Man and Allen Onyeama, the CEO of Airpeace Airlines. So, um, yes, we are happy that that happened, and we are happy that VDM was out of jail to make sure that that happened. And what this video is about actually is the fact that I noticed that VDM's role in the event of bringing back the 78 girls was very much downplayed by Arise TV, and that would be surprising. But I'm not even surprised because Dr. Ruben Abati was on seats. Rufai wasn't on seats, so it was Ojiokwe, the presenter Ojiokwe, that actually just presented on the matter. And though they gave VDM his time, but his role in the whole thing was downplayed very much, and it was almost as if his role in it was quite small compared to the role of Airpeace Airline Allen Onyeama. I remember that VDM had contributed 20 million naira to NAPTIP for the bringing back of these girls, just for these girls to return home. And yes, just watch this and tell me if you see what I saw in this particular broadcast. Let's watch.
We're enjoying too much. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending. Nigeria's leading airline, Airpeace, over the weekend fulfilled its promise of repatriating Nigerian girls trafficked to Ivory Coast. The girls were rescued after an expose by activist Martin Sorcher. Also,
But this was where it was referenced after an expose by activist Martins Ose, So she spoke about him. Remember that it's not Oji that writes this thing down. They have a creator, they have a content writer. So she just presents it, but she's not the one that writes it down. So we can't really blame Oji for this part, for the presentation style of this particular thing. But the Arise team in general, and I feel like it happened because of the presence of Dr. Ruben Abati. Remember that Dr. Ruben Abati is not a very big fan of VDM. He is one of the people that minimizes VDM's efforts, and he has likened VDM to Portable, of which VDM lambasted him. And because of that, you never see Dr. Ruben Abati talking directly about VDM again online. So you could see that it was minimized, that Arise TV minimized the role of VDM in this particular presentation. Even though they gave him, there was still a part where they spoke about him and what he did, but generally, even down to the title, you could see in the title, what you see there is Airpeace rescues 78 trafficked girls, no addition of VDM. So, and this thing would have been different if Rufai was on seats, because the presenter Rufai was saying he will talk about VDM, he will say VDM, he will actually emphasize on VDM's role in the whole thing. But let's listen to how it went.
also known as Very Dark Man, the airline CEO, Dr. Allen Onyeama, who is renowned for his unwavering patriotism and selfless public service, vowed to repatriate the girls free of charge after receiving reports about their conditions, many of whom had been victims of human trafficking and lured into exploitative situations under false pretenses. Well, on Saturday, May 10th, 78 of the girls returned home and were welcomed aboard the Airpeace aircraft by Dr. Allen Onyeama, who promised to provide medical care and psychosocial support.
Fellow Nigerians, how are you? You're welcome back to our country. It's the joy of the president of this country that you're back today. And President Tinubu is very, very happy. Nigeria belongs to you. We are going to give you the treatment, the good treatment you deserve. Don't lose hope in your nation. As you're going out there, federal government officials are waiting for you to welcome you, not to arrest you. They will give you, take care of you, and encourage you, and make you believe in your nation, Nigeria. There's no other country we have. This is the best place to be. Forget everything. We have our difficulties, but every country has its own difficulties. We are very sorry that some people deceived you. You don't deserve to be deceived. So we are bringing you back to rehabilitate you and reintegrate you into the Nigerian society. We can have a president in any of you. Don't look down on yourself. You can be a governor tomorrow. You can be anything you want to be. We don't need to sell our bodies to do anything. May God continue to bless all of you and bless our nation. Do not look down on yourself.
I love his speech.
Believe in yourself, you can be anything you want to be. God bless you.
Can we all applaud this?
So this was a very inspiring speech, and I hope the girls this sinks into their mind. And it's good that there's a rehabilitation program that is being set up for them as they come on the ground and they try to settle in Nigeria. That rehabilitation program is supposed to help them, try to desensitize them from their traumatic experience in Cote and help them to be able to settle with ease in Nigeria without facing so much turmoil and hardship. So let's just listen.
Patriotic Nigerian. I mean, this is not the first time that we are seeing the CEO of Air Peace Airline, repatriating our girls, coming to the aid of Nigerians that are, stuck abroad. We saw him do it in South Africa. We've seen him do it in Sudan, in other countries. But we know that the rescue was a joint effort by Air Peace, the Nigerian Embassy in Abidjan, and the Nigerian community in Cote d'Ivoire. This is part of a series of similar interventions by Dr. Allen Onyeama. This is how I believe that the private sector can contribute to nation building. Dr. Abati.
So you could see that in this part where she wanted to give Dr. Abati the floor to talk, they didn't add Very Dark Man to this. They just spoke about the organizations, but they didn't talk about Very Dark Man. They didn't add him to this. And it was very deliberate. It's not like an omission. It was deliberate because adding Very Dark Man to this will mean Dr. Abati will have to say something about Very Dark Man. And of course, he doesn't want to say anything about Very Dark Man because he is not a friend of Very Dark Man. I don't think the issue is personal, but Very Dark Man took it personal when Very Dark Man abused him. And I don't even blame the man for to be honest, I don't blame him because I don't think there's anybody that will be saying good or someone that abused you online and just rubbished you online, And Very Dark Man did that. So he decided to, anything Very Dark Man, he has washed his hands off. So that's what he did here. So we'll just watch his own statements. You'll see that he didn't even reference Very Dark Man inside the statement. Just watch.
Well, very quickly, I mean, Mr. Allen Onyeama, he continues to show patriotism, commitment to the common good, and he continues to support good causes. Now, in 2019, he was the one that evacuated Nigerians from South Africa when there was that xenophobic problem. When the crisis erupted between Ukraine and Russia, it was also Mr. Allen Onyeama, free of charge, who provided aircraft to go and bring Nigerians home. I think he did the same thing, when there was crisis in Sudan, and he doesn't get paid for this. You could see him there mentoring, the younger people who have been involved in this issue of trafficking. I think that the best way that Nigeria can pay tribute to his effort and encourage other players in the private sector to show this level of commitment is to make sure that when they compile the National Honors List this year, that his name is there and that he is honored. These are the kind of people we want on the National Honors List, not traditional rulers who are just enjoying undeserved privileges, collecting the big titles. Excuse me?
Nothing.
Okay, collecting big titles, just because they are sitting on a hereditary stool. People who make a difference are the ones to be recognized. And I'm recommending Mr. Allen Onyeama of Air Peace for that national honor. Now, you made the point that this was as a result of collaboration between the Nigerian embassy in Abidjan, the Nigerian community in Abidjan, and also the chairman of Air Peace. And maybe that's why appropriately he gave the credit to the president of Nigeria. But the question to ask is, where is the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons? Nigeria has a statutory body called NAPTIP. And the job of that agency is to make sure that young Nigerians are not subjected to this. It's not only Ivory Coast that people are taking to. Many of our Nigerians, ladies, they are on the streets of Italy. Yes. Many are, on their way to Libya. Many are on the high seas as we speak, and they're likely to meet very desperate ends. They are in Qatar, they are in Saudi Arabia, working as maid and as sex slaves. Now, NAPTIP needs to be reformed to make it more efficient, to be able to meet its original mandate.
Yes, I like that point.
So we saw a very good take from Dr. Ruben Abati, and you could see that he also reiterated what she said, what Ojuokwe said, and but they mentioned people and they they didn't mention Very Dark Man. I like the fact that they still later talked about Very Dark Man, but you could see the intentionality in deliberating, like avoiding to mention his name at certain areas just because Dr. Ruben Abati is on seats and they don't want him to like, and he will not be able to talk on that side of the story. It will be very obvious, but it's obvious, or it's obvious already that anything that has to do with Very Dark Man, Dr. Ruben Abati has decided to wash his hands off. He doesn't want to talk about Very Dark Man because of the personal saga, the personal vendetta between him and Very Dark Man. So let's continue.
NAPTIP needs to be reformed. And you asked the question, where was NAPTIP? I believe they were there, to receive the girls as well. In April, Very Dark Man donated 20 million naira to the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, to support the rescue and rehabilitation of the trafficked girls to Ivory Coast and other countries. VDM was also at the airport to receive the girls. Dr.
So you see how it was intentional that they didn't add him to that discourse and Ojuokwe had to present on VDM separately. And of course, this one that she presented on VDM separately, there's no Dr. Abati. What's your take on this? He will not talk. So it's very, very deliberate. Just watch.
Dr. Allen Onyeama called him the hero of the moment for bringing the story to limelight and emphasized the importance of patriotism.
I must use this opportunity to thank the man they call VDM, Very Dark Man. He was the one that brought this awareness. It was Dark Man that made us even know that something like this existed. And I must thank him. I think he is hero of this particular night.
So imagine Dr. Allen Onyeama giving Very Dark Man his flowers. He's the hero of this night. He's the one that made sure this happened. He's the one that brought our attention to this. So you can imagine him doing this. Then you imagine how it was discussed about in Arise TV. Did they tally? Just my own take. Did you think I'm analyzing this? Did they tally? So it's just what it is. They had to balance it up by talking about VDM's role separately. They didn't involve VDM's role with Dr. Allen Onyeama and the rest because they wanted Dr. Abati's take, and Dr. Abati's take would not have come in if VDM was actually mentioned so much in the whole thing. So let's just listen to this.
It's a national assignment. I feel so proud of being Nigerian. That's the only thing. That's the only country we've got. I mean, we have to instill in our youth that sense of belonging, that sense of patriotism, sense of nationalism. That is why I preach broad nationalism in Nigeria as against ethnic and religious nationalism.
The borders are porous, the immigration are not doing too much. They waste their time with bag of rice that is coming into Nigeria, contraband goods, We have more problems. Because of the porousness of the border, you have insecurity in the country, terrorism and all. It's not only bag of rice. The immigration needs to expand, expand what they do with their time. How come over 200, 500 girls are leaving Nigeria almost every day? Bringing them back is not a solution, but stopping them from going is the solution, right? Now, this trafficking is not only outside the country. It still happens inside Nigeria. A kid standing on the road to beg you different traffic junctions in Nigeria is also trafficking. Some of them are being trafficked and turned into beggars. The problem is really, really big.
All right. Again, kudos to Very Dark Man. And I think that he did a good job in highlighting the fact that we have a porous border. And he's urging the federal government to tackle that because that is the major problem for the trafficking in our young girls. I mean, yesterday we saw these girls coming back. Some of them were pregnant. Some of them, had the, really horrific stories that they had experienced in Cote. We're glad that our girls are back home. Kudos to Dr. Allen Onyeama, Air Peace, and of course, Very Dark Man. Well, in another development.
Okay, you could see how she ended it. She gave Very Dark Man his flowers at the end, and intentionally, it wasn't giving. Nobody else gave a take on VDM's role except Ojuokwe because, of course, she's in good standing with VDM. And Yes, so this is just my observation on Arise TV and how they presented on the case, separating VDM's side from the major situation from the this thing, minimizing his side. Not, I won't say it was minimized. I'll just say it was separated and intentionally separated because of of course Dr. Ruben Abati on seat. But here was my situation, here was my issue. My issue was the fact that Very Dark Man was not put in the title. It was written Epis rescues 78 trafficked girls, plus of course the other part of it, which is Wiki and Fubara, which I have no business with. But Epis rescues, of course, it's supposed to be Epis and VDM. You know, Epis and VDM, or Elpis through the help of VDM rescues this. But anyway, that's just my observation. Tell me what you think. I'll go by the name East Coast Prince. This is the East Coast Show. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. And with that being said, my people, peace.